Under a blood-red moon, a ruined city whispers tales of a world gone wrong. Down a derelict hallway, the sound of frantic footsteps echoes through the darkness. A squad of survivors, led by a man with piercing golden eyes, sprints for their lives. The leader glances back, shouting a desperate command to seal the path behind them. But it's too late. As a grotesque horde of monsters closes in, their sheer numbers overwhelming. Surrounded and outnumbered, the leader's eyes dart around, searching for any possible advantage. As a creature drops from the ceiling, one of his men realizes they have only one desperate option left. With a powerful strike, he sends a massive pipe hurtling towards the ambush from above. The heavy metal pipe swings down, clearing the doorway of the pursuing monsters in a single, decisive blow. Two men now struggle to wedge the pipe in place, creating a makeshift barricade against the horrors outside. The horde, led by a grotesque giant, begins to tear through their flimsy defense. But the leader isn't just defending. With a grim look, he slices the support pipe with his blade. His real plan is revealed as a grenade tumbles perfectly into the crowd of monsters. The creatures claw mindlessly at the pipe, completely unaware of the explosive surprise waiting for them. As monstrous limbs breach the door, the other survivors dive for cover just in time. A thunderous explosion rips through the hallway, engulfing the entire horde in a fiery blast. The leader calmly surveys his handiwork as his team recovers amidst the smoke and embers. Suddenly, one of his men spots something incredible and urgently directs the leader's attention forward. A glowing blue portal materializes on the ceiling, a safe house, but with only 2 minutes left on the clock. The leader's eyes widen with understanding. The appearance of this sanctuary means they are on the verge of escape. The leader Shinya Ichiju reveals he's been fighting to survive in this hellscape for 5 long years. 5 years prior, a great calamity shattered humanity's peace, spawning mysterious special domains across the globe. These domains manifest as digital anomalies corrupting the cityscape, their true difficulty a mystery. Unsuspecting people find themselves trapped within these zones, completely isolated from the outside world. Vicious creatures hunt the humans trapped inside, forcing them to seek a safe house to escape and grow stronger. Failure to reach the safe house within the time limit means a grim transformation, a fate that has already claimed most of humanity. Yet those who survived these trials evolved, becoming powerful beings who now seek the ultimate prize, a grand slam. Now, the first ever level 100 domain has manifested, and Shinya finds himself on the brink of conquering this final challenge. Back in the present, he and his 5 elite teammates were just moments away from clearing this ultimate domain. With the safe house in sight, he clenches his fist, determined to become the first to achieve the grand slam after cheating death time and again. Just as victory seems certain, a new, terrifying creature with glowing red eyes lunges at Shinya. His confident expression shatters, replaced by pure shock at this unexpected final guardian. The monstrous gatekeeper scales the building with terrifying speed, forcing him to yell a warning to his team. Shinya narrowly evades a crushing blow, using the wall to propel himself away from the attack. He lands back with his squad, realizing a powerful boss guards the very entrance to their escape. The gatekeeper emerges from the dust, its crimson eyes locking onto the survivors below. Unlike the mindless horde, this creature radiates a powerful aura, the final obstacle they must overcome. Its intense gaze signals a new level of threat, forcing the team to take a quick inventory. Their resources are dangerously low, with only 5 haste potions and a single power potion remaining. Shinya quickly devises a strategy. His team will use speed to suppress it, setting him up for the final, decisive strike. The gatekeeper lunges with blinding speed, its claws aimed directly at Shinya. With no time to waste, Shinya downs the single power potion, bracing for the final clash. But as he swallows the liquid, he realizes something is terribly wrong with its taste. The monster's brutal assault continues, pushing him back with overwhelming force. Pinned down and struggling, Shinya grits his teeth, realizing he's been put in an impossible situation. A system notification reveals the horrifying truth. He drank a weakness potion, halving all his stats. He looks back in fury, understanding his own teammate sabotaged him at the most critical moment. The blonde-haired teammate smirks, revealing his treachery and seizing the opportunity. His squad consumes their haste potions, their speed doubling as they prepare to act. Now buffed and united, the 4 traitors charge forward to finish what they started. Fueled by rage, Shinya grabs the traitor, questioning the deliberate act of sabotage. With a chilling smile, the traitor confirms the weakness potion was no accident. It was a gift just for him. The traitor lays out their twisted logic. Shinya will serve as the perfect distraction for the boss, ensuring their own safe escape. Leaving him to his fate, the squad rushes past, thanking him for being the stepping stone to their own glory. As his strength completely vanishes, Shinya's eyes burn with helpless fury. With only 10 seconds on the clock, he understands this was their endgame all along. His former ally callously promises to tell the world a lie about his brave sacrifice. With a sadistic grin, he looks forward to hunting Shinya down after he inevitably transforms. Overwhelmed by the ultimate betrayal, Shinya lets out a silent roar of fury. Before he can even process the betrayal, the gatekeeper's massive claws strike down upon him. The gatekeeper's foot slams down, crushing him without a second thought. With only 3 seconds left, he kneels before the monster, realizing his 5 years of struggle were for nothing. The creature's final attack pierces his body, ending his life in a flash of agony. As the special domain begins to collapse, he feels the horrifying transformation into a monster take hold. A dark, corrupting energy surges through him, the physical signs of his zombification becoming clear. Yet, even in defeat, his eyes burn with defiance, refusing to simply accept this twisted fate. He makes a solemn vow, swearing to hunt down his betrayers even if he becomes a mindless beast. His final conscious thought is a promise of absolute revenge that shakes the very foundation of the dying world. But instead of undeath, he awakens in a strange, watery void, questioning his own existence. He plummets into the darkness, his last thoughts filled with regret over a life he feels was wasted. Instead of undeath, he finds himself on the ground with a boot on his back, a voice questioning his defiance. He looks up to see the faces of his past tormentors, the very bullies from his high school days. Surrounded on a school field, he realizes he's reliving a familiar scene of intimidation. A memory flashes of a classmate being extorted by the same red-haired bully, unable to pay the demanded fee. The bully grabs the terrified student, threatening him with daily beatings unless he produces the money. Shinya recalls his younger self, forced to endure the same powerlessness and torment. He questions if this is a dying dream, but the pain of the past feels far too real. The memory turns sour as the cornered student betrays him, pointing him out as a source of cash. Amidst the confusion, Shinya reaches a stunning conclusion. He has returned to the time before the Great Calamity. To test his theory, he asks the lead bully for the date, leaving the thug completely bewildered. The red-haired bully scoffs, completely unimpressed by Shinya's sudden change in attitude. He sneers, accusing Shinya of lying and demanding he hand over the money immediately. But before the bully can finish his threat, Shinya's fist smashes directly into his face. Without a moment's hesitation, he follows up with a brutal kick that sends the thug flying. The force of the impact sends the bully crashing into his own stunned lackeys. The onlookers stare in utter disbelief, shocked that anyone would dare to fight back. The bully's cronies quickly recover, their shock turning to pure rage. Shinya stands firm, realizing with a grim smile that he's inherited the power from his past life. He recalls his tormentor, Ippei Mineta, a third year who ruled the school through fear. With powerful connections protecting him, the teachers were forced to look away, and Shinya was his favorite target. He recalls his past self, an orphan working part-time, making him the perfect victim for Mineta's abuse. In his memory, Mineta relentlessly extorted him for money, never satisfied with what he was given. The other students would just watch, relieved that they weren't the ones in Mineta's crosshairs. Back then, his defiance was met with nothing but contempt from the red-haired bully. But now, with the eyes of a seasoned warrior, he stares down his former tormentor, who can only look on in shock. The onlookers are stunned, whispering that Shinya has sealed his own fate by challenging the school's tyrant. Mineta's enraged lackeys rush forward, eager to put the upstart back in his place. But Shinya moves with practiced ease, delivering a precise kick that neutralizes the first attacker instantly. The remaining bullies are thrown into disarray, completely unprepared for this level of skill. He recalls the brutal training of his past life, where every day was a fight for survival against monstrous hordes. He remembers the countless nights spent fighting for survival, where sleep was a luxury he couldn't afford. The scars etched across his back are a testament to the brutal battles that forged him into a warrior. Enraged by his leader's defeat, another crony charges forward, screaming in defiance. But Shinya stops the punch with a single hand, his expression completely unfazed by the attack. He reflects that in a broken world, desperate humans are far more terrifying than any monster. The remaining bully scrambles backward in fear, begging him to stay away. Seeing the last man standing, Shinya recognizes this as his chance to settle old scores. He effortlessly sidesteps the clumsy attack, determined not to repeat the mistakes of his past. With a single precise strike, he neutralizes the final lackey without breaking a sweat. Mineta can only stare in disbelief, wondering how his entire crew was dismantled in an instant. Mineta stares in disbelief, unable to recognize the weakling he once tormented. The onlookers are equally stunned, questioning how Shinya suddenly became so powerful. Mineta dismisses Shinya's skill as a fluke, convinced it was just a lucky move learned online. Refusing to accept defeat, he stomps forward, determined to prove his superiority. He launches a furious kick, aiming to end the fight and reassert his dominance. But his attack is stopped cold, leaving him utterly speechless. Shinya casually blocks the powerful blow with a single arm, completely unfazed. The bully looks into Shinya's eyes and sees not fear, but an overwhelming bloodlust that chills him to the bone. Before he can even process his fear, Shinya's hand blurs into motion. A brutal kick to the gut sends the bully flying, ending the confrontation decisively. The bully lies on the ground, his face contorted in pain from the final blow. From Mineta's perspective, Shinya stands over him, an unstoppable force of retribution. The onlookers whisper in fear, realizing the victim they once tormented has just dismantled the school's tyrant. Shinya notes that his power hasn't fully returned, and his tormentor passed out before giving him the date. He looks around, noticing the crowd has scattered, leaving the field almost empty. However, his sharp eyes catch one person attempting to sneak away from the scene. He calls out, and the student who betrayed him in his past life freezes in sheer panic. Shinya calmly approaches, questioning where the terrified student thinks he's going. The student stammers a pathetic excuse about going to class, his fear palpable. But Shinya's cold expression makes it clear he has one more thing he needs from him. The student pleads for Shinya to keep his distance, completely terrified. He gets the date he needed, April 20th, confirming he has just over a month until the calamity. Now back in class, he assesses his strength, realizing he's retained about 30% of his old power. While planning for the future, a startling possibility crosses his mind. A familiar blue system window pops up, proving his theory correct. He confirms with excitement that his system's inventory has returned with him. His joy is short-lived, however, as he discovers his level has been reset from 50 back to 1. He remembers the beginning of the end, when mysterious dungeons began appearing all over the globe. The collapse of civilization left humanity in a state of utter panic and hopelessness. In the ensuing chaos, people turned on one another for resources, driven by pure desperation. He recalls that with dungeons appearing randomly, personal inventories became humanity's only way to secure supplies. This system allowed survivors to store anything but living creatures in a timeless space, a critical tool for survival. Although his inventory is reset to level 1, he's confident he can rebuild it, remembering the massive space he once earned. His new primary goal is set: expand his inventory and stockpile resources, a task that will require a fortune. A cold resolve settles in as he quietly formulates a plan to leverage his second chance. He realizes his future knowledge, combined with his early access to the system, gives him an unprecedented advantage. His eyes glow with determination as he thinks of his betrayers, promising himself he won't be their pawn again. The faces of his treacherous squad flash in his mind, fueling his burning desire for absolute revenge. The scene shifts to a dark alley where two figures are menacingly cornering a lone individual. A brutal strike lands with crushing force, a stark reminder of the world's ever-present cruelty. A blonde thug with a baseball bat teaches a harsh lesson to a man on the ground. He casually notes his victim is unconscious as a more imposing figure emerges from the shadows. The scarred boss orders the man to be woken, his cold gaze promising the ordeal is far from over. A subordinate reports to the boss, revealing that Mineta, their school enforcer, has run into trouble. The beaten and bandaged Mineta looks on in terror, having failed to collect their protection money. For his failure, Mineta is met with a punishing blow that rattles him to his core. His superior hauls him up, showing no sympathy for his battered state. The gang leader's face darkens with rage, questioning Mineta's empty-handed return. The blonde enforcer smirks, calling his own leader useless and expressing his growing frustration. Mineta pleads desperately, trying to explain his crew's defeat as a bat swings into view. The blonde enforcer delivers a punishing blow, silencing Mineta's excuses about being beaten by one person. The impact sends a shockwave of pain through Mineta, who crumples from the strike. The enraged leader orders his men to capture Shinya, making it clear that failure is not an option. The gang's leader, Toshiki Hatano, seethes with anger, promising a brutal lesson for the boy who defied him. Meanwhile, back in class, the day continues as normal, with students oblivious to the storm brewing outside. Shinya's memory clicks into place. He realizes Hatano is the true power behind Mineta's bullying. He recalls Hatano's past as a formidable pro baseball player, a slugger with incredible swing speed. His violent temper, however, earned him the nickname Tyrant and ultimately ended his career after a brutal team incident. With his sports career in ruins, Hatano fully embraced the criminal underworld, gathering a crew of enforcers. As he leaves school, the very student who betrayed him in the past rushes over, calling his name with urgency. Shinya turns, his focus interrupted by the student who jumped down to stop him. The former betrayer warns him of an ambush at the school gate, but Shinya is completely unconcerned. Other students stare in confusion as a menacing group blocks the school's exit. The crowd recognizes the beaten Mineta with his gang, realizing he's returned for revenge. The battered bully's eyes widen as he spots the very person who defeated him. Panicked, his classmate suggests they retreat, but Shinya stands his ground, unfazed. The student's frantic warnings fall on deaf ears as Shinya dismisses the threat. He's focused on a much bigger problem. The world is ending in 1 month and he has to prepare. The gang clears the onlookers, with one of them calling Shinya forward for a private chat. A thug tries to intimidate him, but Shinya sees this as a chance to use this new connection to his advantage. As Shinya is driven away, the students whisper that he's made a fatal mistake. The student who tried to warn him is frozen in fear, whispering Shinya's name in disbelief. The thugs present Shinya to their boss, reporting that he came willingly and without a struggle. Shinya calmly recalls that this was his plan all along, initiated the moment he first fought back. He finally confronts the true leader, Hatano, who glares up with a mix of rage and disbelief. Shinya delivers a cold lesson, warning that carelessness is what gets the hunter caught. Hatano sneers, commenting on Shinya's surprising lack of fear in this dangerous situation. Mineta reappears, insisting Shinya is just pretending to be brave and promising to teach him a lesson. The thugs close in, offering a single path to forgiveness, getting on his knees and begging. Another enforcer gets uncomfortably close, demanding an exorbitant amount of money for the trouble he's caused. But instead of cowering, Shinya delivers a swift punch, silencing the thug's demands. Hatano's eyes widen in utter shock, stunned by this unexpected act of defiance. Enraged, the blonde enforcer swings a baseball bat, determined to punish Shinya for his insolence. Shinya easily dodges the attack, ducking under the bat with practiced ease. He counters with a powerful kick, sending the enforcer flying and disarming him in a single motion. The bat clatters to the ground, a testament to the enforcer's complete failure. Before he can act again, a hulking figure with a menacing aura looms over him from behind. The massive brute grabs Shinya in a powerful bear hug, attempting to restrain him. Seeing their chance, the other thugs move in, preparing to deliver a final crippling blow. But Shinya remains calm, casually flicking a fallen bat into the air with his foot. He catches the bat midair, using the brute's own grip to set up a devastating counter. With a cold expression, he slams the bat into the thug's face, breaking his hold instantly. Enraged, the gang leader Hatano roars and brings his own weapon down with furious intent. Shinya meets the powerful strike head-on, blocking the attack with the captured baseball bat. The sheer force of the blow sends him skidding backward, a testament to Hatano's strength. But he quickly recovers, closing the distance and landing a solid punch on the gang leader's jaw. His eyes flash as his heightened senses detect another threat approaching from his blind spot. A third enforcer swings for the fences, aiming to end the fight with a single blow from behind. Mineta and Hatano watch with grim satisfaction, believing their opponent is finally finished. But the attack is stopped cold, as Shinya casually blocks the bat with his backpack, completely unfazed. The thug is stunned, unable to believe his point-blank attack was so easily stopped. Before he can react, Shinya delivers a swift kick, neutralizing the final attacker. The last enforcer collapses, leaving Hatano and Mineta to stare in complete shock. Shinya stands calmly amidst the fallen thugs, having dismantled the entire crew by himself. Mineta trembles in fear, completely bewildered by Shinya's sudden and overwhelming power. But Hatano's shock turns to pure fury, his eyes glowing with murderous intent. The gang leader steps forward, ready to handle this unexpected challenge personally. Shinya stands his ground, facing down the only real threat left in the alley. With a furious roar, Hatano swings his bat with all his might, aiming to end the fight. But Shinya stops the powerful blow with a single hand, his grip unyielding. He twists, using the bat to disarm and unbalance the gang leader in one fluid motion. Hatano's confidence shatters, his face a mask of pure disbelief at the sudden reversal. With a swift leg sweep, Shinya sends the former pro athlete stumbling backward. The gang leader barely regains his footing, now facing an opponent he completely underestimated. Hatano realizes with a grimace that his opponent's movements are flawless, questioning if he's even a student. But Shinya moves even faster, his eyes glowing as he closes the distance in an instant. With glowing golden eyes, he calmly points out the countless openings in his opponent's stance. He unleashes a final, devastating swing, aiming to end the confrontation for good. The decisive blow lands, leaving the gang leader reeling from the sheer force of the impact. Hatano is sent crashing to the ground, utterly defeated by the student he came to punish. Minetta's face contorts in pure terror, his mind unable to process the absolute defeat. He rushes to his fallen leader, who struggles to recover from the devastating final blow. Hatano realizes with dawning horror that Shinya's power and intent are far beyond that of any normal student. Looking up from the ground, the gang leader is completely bewildered by this impossible turn of events. But Shinya's cold gaze looks past them, revealing this entire fight was merely a stepping stone. The terrified boss tries to surrender, even offering to sacrifice his own man to escape Shinya's wrath. Shinya's focus is sharp. He has no interest in the lackey he's already dealt with. His true target is revealed to be Hatano himself, leaving the gang leader stunned and confused. The scene shifts to a lavish high-rise, hinting at a much bigger player in the city's underworld. Inside, a powerful figure surrounded by his entourage scoffs at the news of Hatano's humiliating defeat. Hatano insists to his superior that the student who defeated him was no ordinary kid. The imposing leader agrees to handle the problem, but demands a hefty cut of Hatano's profits as payment. Outraged by the price, Hatano is reminded that he's the one begging for help, with his turf already in jeopardy. He recalls Shinya's cryptic words, realizing with cold certainty that the student is a threat that must be eliminated. A deal is struck for that very night, but Hatano turns down an offer to stay, eager to leave. Just as he's leaving, an unseen voice rudely orders him out of the private lounge. A subordinate informs the boss that some reckless kid has just forced his way into their exclusive club. A hooded figure steps into the light, announcing he's there to find someone. Hatano's face drains of color as he recognizes Shinya, who calmly points out his terrified expression. Shinya reveals his face, coolly stating he's there on his boss's orders, turning Hatano's own words against him. The scene shifts to a quiet room at night, where Shinya prepares for what's to come. He pushes his body to its limits, his golden eyes burning with resolve. He realizes his current physical form is far too weak for the trials ahead. Fueled by the need for revenge, he begins a brutal training regimen to forge a stronger vessel. Hours pass as he relentlessly pushes himself, with the clock marking the dawn of a new day. Exhausted but determined, he rests, knowing that rebuilding his former power will be a long and arduous process. A new resolve hardens within him. The real preparations for the future have only just begun. Back in the club, he calmly repeats that he's there on orders from Hatano, turning the tables completely. The true leader of the gang eyes Shinya with suspicion, noting the boy's brazen disregard for their rules. Hatano frantically tries to warn his superior, realizing the terrifying truth behind Shinya's calm demeanor. Shinya boldly claims he's cleared the building on Hatano's orders, leaving the gang members utterly bewildered. The true leader, unfazed by the claim, calmly orders his subordinate to pull up the security footage. His eyes narrow with suspicion as he prepares to uncover the truth behind the boy's audacious claim. The footage confirms Shinya's story, showing the entire security team lying unconscious in the hallway. A skeptical enforcer approaches, questioning Hatano about how a mere kid could accomplish such a feat. Hatano's face contorts in terror as he realizes he's become entangled in something far beyond his control. Enraged by the deception, the leader lunges at Hatano, his eyes glowing with murderous intent. He swings a bottle with punishing force, intending to make an example out of the terrified gang leader. But his attack hits empty air, leaving him holding the shattered remains of the bottle in complete confusion. The boss turns to see Shinya standing calmly in Hatano's place, realizing the boy is the source of this impossible speed. The boss studies Shinya's movements, realizing he's not just some ordinary student. Enraged, the blonde enforcer orders his men to seize the boy immediately. The leader uses the gang's own rules against Hatano, framing him as the one who broke their code. With a powerful grip, the leader hauls the terrified Hatano up by his collar. Hatano frantically pleads his case, but his superior is completely unmoved by his excuses. With a cruel smile, the boss reveals his true motive, to use this chaos to seize all of Hatano's assets. The leader's grip tightens, signaling that the betrayal is now complete. He sends Hatano flying across the room, leaving the gang leader to crash amidst the chaos. Hatano understands the depth of the betrayal and knows he must escape this trap to survive. As the gang members rush past him, Shinya calmly observes, questioning the true nature of their plot. One of the enforcers looks on in utter confusion, unable to comprehend the sudden chaos. Before they can regroup, Shinya moves first, delivering a powerful strike that catches them completely off guard. He follows up with a precise kick, effortlessly neutralizing another attacker in the ensuing brawl. With blinding speed, he lands another decisive blow, dismantling the enforcers one by one. The thugs are left scattered on the floor, completely overwhelmed by his sudden and brutal efficiency. The gang's true leader watches in disbelief, stunned by the flawless movements of this mysterious kid. Shinya calmly adjusts his cap, his expression unreadable as he surveys the remaining opposition. The rest of the gang, now fully alerted, turns their attention to the lone intruder who just dismantled their crew. Enraged, the remaining enforcers charge forward in a wave, determined to crush him with sheer numbers. But Shinya remains perfectly still, unfazed as a massive fist hurtles directly towards his face. He effortlessly dodges the clumsy punch, moving with a speed they can't comprehend. A brutal counterstrike sends the thug's head snapping back in a daze. Shinya pivots with perfect balance, already moving to his next target. He unleashes another powerful blow, clearing a path through the stunned enforcers. But two thugs manage to grab him from behind, thinking they've finally cornered their prey. An enforcer moves in for the finishing blow, raising a metal pipe to end the fight. Shinya cleverly uses his captor as a shield, turning their own attack against them. Enraged by the mistake, the muscular thug prepares to swing again with a different weapon. But Shinya is already free, delivering a decisive strike that shatters on impact. The remnants of the attack rain down as his opponent is left completely stunned. With a powerful kick, he sends another attacker flying, using the chaos to his advantage. The thug's face contorts in pure shock and agony from the unexpected counter. Now free, Shinya delivers a devastating blow to the brute who tried to restrain him. He becomes a blur of motion, dismantling the remaining enforcers with brutal efficiency. The gang's leader watches in disbelief, realizing this single student has taken down his entire force. Seeing his men fall one by one, the leader understands that he will be the next target. A cold resolve forms in his mind. He must eliminate this threat here and now. Shinya's sharp senses pick up on a new development, his gaze shifting to the source. A handgun suddenly slides across the floor, changing the dynamic of the fight completely. Hatano, the defeated gang leader, seizes the weapon, his eyes burning with a desperate resolve. The gang's true leader grabs Hatano's wrist, furious at his interference. But Hatano stands his ground, refusing to let his boss use a firearm on a student. The leader furiously reminds Hatano of his own defeat, demanding he step aside. Meanwhile, Shinya calmly continues his fight, realizing this chaos actually works in his favor. The enraged leader decides to eliminate Hatano first, while the former baseball pro questions Shinya's true identity. Hatano realizes he's trapped. Shinya has cut off all his escape routes from the organization. With no other choice, he kicks his own boss, forced to ally with the very student who cornered him. The powerful blow sends the gang leader crashing against the wall, stunned by the betrayal. Dazed on the floor, the leader's eyes lock onto the fallen handgun, seeing his chance for revenge. He snatches the weapon and takes aim, his face twisted with murderous rage. The gang leader's face contorts with rage, his eyes locking onto his former subordinate. His blue-haired enforcer scoffs, underestimating the threat of this new, unlikely alliance. But Shinya moves first, delivering a decisive kick and claiming the territory as his own. The confrontation ends in a flash of stylized impact, settling the power dynamic instantly. Hatano sits exhausted amidst the aftermath, marveling at how one student dismantled his entire operation. Shinya calmly turns to him, demanding to know what comes next. The former gang leader explains he's cornered, admitting his alliance with Shinya was a desperate chance encounter. Looking over the fallen thugs, Shinya tells Hatano to take over the turf, fulfilling the promotion he was promised. The former pro athlete warns that such a move will make them both targets of the entire criminal network. Shinya reveals his master plan. Hatano will be the public boss while he pulls the strings, aiming to seize the organization's entire fortune. Hatano stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend the sheer audacity of the plan. Overwhelmed, he resigns himself to the chaos, realizing words are useless now. Shinya casually raises a hand, proposing a toast to their insane new partnership. He smirks, reminding the former gang leader that he's still just a high school student. Hatano voices a practical concern, questioning if his new partner even has the money for such a takeover. Shinya suddenly grabs him, making the seasoned thug wonder if he's the one being shaken down. Releasing his grip, Shinya offers a single bill, stating it's all he has for now. The former pro athlete is aghast, questioning his sanity for allying with a broke teenager. Shinya gets down to business, demanding a full report on their enemy's strength and assets. Hatano reveals the grim reality. Their target has a crew of 50 elite enforcers, far superior to his own. Hatano reveals the enemy's elite forces are armed with organization-issued firearms. When asked about funds, Hatano admits that as grunts, they have almost no money. He lays out the organization's hierarchy, explaining that all the money flows to the top. The true leader's birthday is a chance to buy influence, but Hatano now sees a different path forward. Shinya confidently promises to elevate his new partner to the top of the food chain in no time. The former pro athlete is left stunned, questioning the sanity of their audacious plan. Hatano suggests exchanging numbers, only for Shinya to admit he doesn't own a phone. The seasoned thug is once again floored, realizing his new boss is completely broke. Shinya gestures to the fallen enforcers, asking if Hatano can handle the cleanup. Taking charge, Hatano assures him that his own men are on the way to deal with the aftermath. Hatano's reinforcements arrive, finding him sitting calmly with Shinya amidst the chaos. The newcomers stare in shock at the room full of their rivals' unconscious men. A rival gang leader named Ichijo appears, stunned to find Shinya and Hatano at the scene. As they prepare to leave, Shinya stops his new partner with a single word. He calls over the terrified Mineta, who is now part of Hatano's crew. Shinya asks to borrow Mineta's phone, having a practical problem to solve. The former bully nervously hands over his brand new smartphone. Hatano takes the device, entering his contact information for their new reluctant leader. Shinya accepts the phone, now having a direct line to his new underworld connection. Hatano solidifies their alliance, placing his trust in Shinya, who immediately gets down to business. His eyes burn with cold resolve as he lays out the first step of his audacious plan. He tells his new partner to simply follow his orders without question, holding the newly acquired phone. Hatano is left speechless, watching the student who just upended his entire world calmly walk away. The remaining thugs whisper in disbelief, unable to accept that a supposed wimp took down an entire crew alone. Hatano recalls the chilling intent he felt from Shinya, realizing his new boss is extremely cautious and trusts no one. A text message reveals their next move is a casino raid, confirming Hatano's suspicion that his new partner is dangerously insane. The scene shifts to the bustling city streets at night, setting the stage for their next operation. Walking through the crowd, Shinya scoffs at the idea of having allies as someone calls out a familiar name. Two girls excitedly point at a famous person nearby, but Shinya remains completely focused on his own mission. He reaffirms his true purpose, making it clear that he doesn't need allies to achieve his ultimate goal. His focus sharpens on a single, all-consuming goal: revenge. The face on the screen belongs to Nozomi Ijuin, the son of a global corporate titan. Shinya recalls how Nozomi used his vast resources to master the New World's rules, hoarding supplies and power after the calamity. With his elite team and ruthless efficiency, Nozomi's group thrived, dominating the survivors. He realizes that even with his second chance, getting close enough for revenge against such a powerful figure seems impossible. To challenge a man like Nozomi and prepare for the apocalypse, he'll need an astronomical amount of money. He decides he can't just focus on himself. He must find and exploit Nozomi's rivals to weaken his power base before the world ends. The memory of past suffering at Nozomi's hands fuels his determination, promising to return the pain tenfold. Lost in thought, he stands at a bus stop, the city's normal routine a stark contrast to his dark plans. A fellow student snaps him out of his reverie, questioning why he isn't boarding the bus. A terrifying vision of a monster with glowing red eyes appears before him, demanding he move. His own eye flashes red as he recognizes the creature as a zombie from his past life. He instinctively leaps back, completely caught off guard by the impossible sight. Shinya questions how a zombie could exist before the calamity has even begun. The other students stare at him, bewildered by his sudden, strange reaction. The student who spoke to him dismisses his outburst as stress and decides to board the bus. Clutching his head, he wonders if it was a hallucination, as a mysterious message appears in his mind. A strange voice echoes in his head, a feeling he recognizes from the moment of his rebirth. He looks around in confusion, trying to pinpoint the source of the bizarre phenomenon. His eye glows with power as he realizes he's somehow activated a special domain. A sinister red energy field suddenly envelops the building in front of him. He questions how a domain could appear before the apocalypse, realizing no one else can see it. The people around him walk by, completely oblivious to the strange phenomenon. With glowing eyes, he wonders if he's the only one who can perceive this new reality. The mysterious voice from his rebirth echoes in his mind once more, startling him. He realizes the voice is beckoning him toward the domain, forcing him to make a choice. A vision of his archenemy, Nozomi, flashes in his mind, his smug expression a painful reminder. The memory fuels his rage, solidifying his resolve to act. Ignoring a student's frantic warning, he dashes across the busy street toward the building. He steps into the red aura, ready to face whatever lies within the mysterious domain. He realizes this domain gives him a 1-month head start on the rest of the world. Knowing the unique items inside are key to his survival, he decides to risk it all and enter. A flash of red light marks his transition into the unknown dimension. A system message confirms his successful entry into a level 1 special domain. His foot touches down, the red energy of the domain swirling around him as he arrives. The fiery portal closes behind him, sealing him inside this strange new reality. He takes in his surroundings, surprised by the immediate transition into the domain. His surprise turns to grim familiarity as he's greeted by a horde of shambling zombies. Before he can act, a red system window appears, presenting him with a special mission. He stares in shock, completely bewildered by this unexpected and mysterious new quest. He reads the mission details: defeat zombies and find a safe house for a massive reward, a quest he's never seen before. His eyes narrow with focus. He sees this unexpected mission as a golden opportunity. He remembers the struggle of just finding a safe house in his past life, realizing the stakes are much higher now. Now standing in the domain's safe starting zone, he knows he must prepare carefully for the new challenges ahead. He finds a basic first aid kit, a standard item provided at the beginning of every domain. Deciding to hoard everything, he stores the kit and an axe in his inventory, knowing he'll need better gear later. His thoughts turn to the true prize, magic ores which are vital for expanding his inventory space. He recalls that these ores come in different ranks, with higher-level domains offering more powerful crystals. These rare materials were also the key to crafting powerful potions, a critical resource after the world fell. With a determined clench of his fist, he understands these items are his ticket to surviving the end of the world. He surveys the desolate warehouse, knowing the real challenge begins once he leaves the starting area. With his axe in hand, he smirks, realizing this domain gives him a month's head start on gathering resources. From a high vantage point, he looks down at the grim scene below, preparing himself for the fight ahead. A sudden noise alerts him, his senses on high alert as he scans the derelict surroundings. His eyes narrow with determination. Once he steps out of this safe zone, there is no going back. He considers the mission's demands, acknowledging that while he has some power, his current body can't afford any mistakes. He assesses the difficulty, knowing that even for a beginner's domain, defeating 16 zombies and a mutant is a serious task. A chill runs down his spine as he realizes the atmosphere of this domain feels strangely different from his past experiences. A zombie's hand suddenly shatters the glass right in front of him, its decayed fingers reaching for his face. He leaps back just as the creature crashes through the window, the first real threat of the domain lunging at him. He breathes a sigh of relief, realizing he was just one step away from disaster. He assesses the threat, knowing even the weakest zombies are faster and stronger than any human. With his current power level, he knows these relentless creatures are a serious challenge. Their unnatural speed proves too much for conventional tactics, forcing him to adapt. But his past experience reminds him that every monster has a critical weak point. He targets the head, the only way to permanently neutralize the undead threat. A system message confirms his first kill, but the clock is already ticking down. He stands over his defeated foe, the reality of his solo mission setting in. He recalls that safe houses are usually located opposite the starting point and presses onward. Alone in the domain, he knows he must conserve his strength and avoid fighting multiple enemies at once. He cautiously scans the area, sensing that something is out of place. His eyes widen in sudden alarm as he spots an unexpected threat. A mutated zombie, a Gashin, appears at the bottom of the stairs, a creature that shouldn't be here. The Gashin roars, its enhanced arms flexing with a power far beyond a normal zombie. He grips his axe, completely baffled by the appearance of a mutated zombie so early in the game. The creature lunges forward and Shinya is forced to block a devastating punch head-on. The sheer force of the impact sends him skidding across the floor, highlighting the monster's incredible strength. He remembers this specific type of zombie from his past, a violent killer that claimed countless lives. The Gashan's hand closes in, its immense power threatening to crush him on the spot. Caught in the monster's grip, he struggles against the overwhelming force, his life hanging by a thread. He realizes a direct confrontation is impossible and decides to use the terrain to his advantage. Retreating up the stairs, he confirms the monster's power is far beyond anything he's faced yet. He recalls the creature's past behavior, forming a new strategy to lure it into a trap. Shinya suddenly stops his retreat, having found the perfect spot to make his stand. But his plan is interrupted as two more zombies appear, blocking his path completely. With the mutated zombie above and more undead below, he realizes he's completely surrounded. His eyes burn with resolve, refusing to accept defeat in this deadly domain. Memories of past betrayals fuel his rage as he fights back against the encroaching horde. Facing the Gashan's final, crushing blow, he stands his ground, determined to survive at all costs. His eye glows with power, his focus narrowing as he prepares to unleash his counterattack. He channels his resolve, meeting the monster's crushing force with his own. Using his agility, he vaults overhead, preparing to turn the tables on the beast below. Fueled by the promise of revenge, he raises his axe for a decisive downward strike. The mutated zombie roars in defiance, its glowing red eyes tracking his every move. Shinya dives into the attack, swinging his axe in a powerful, arcing blow. The blade cuts through the air, a flash of red energy marking its deadly path. He lands gracefully on the stairs, swiftly dispatching another zombie blocking his way. A sharp pain reminds him of his body's limits, the previous impact taking its toll. He realizes with frustration that his window to defeat the Gashan has closed. The monster recovers, and Shinya knows its strengthened arm is too powerful to attack directly. He catches his breath, admitting this fight is far more difficult than he anticipated. Suddenly, his attention is drawn to something on the floor below. He spots the glowing blue entrance to the safe house, realizing it was on the first floor all along. With the Gashan still in pursuit, he decides to risk a cautious approach toward his goal. His eyes narrow with focus as he commits to his risky new plan. The mutated beast leaps from the upper floor, crashing down with immense force. He watches from above, having successfully baited the monster into the fall. Peering into the dust cloud, he wonders if the creature survived the long drop. But a massive hand suddenly appears from below, catching him completely by surprise. Annoyed by the monster's incredible persistence, he's forced to retreat up the stairs once more. He looks down to find the ground floor swarming with more undead, their attention now fixed on him. The horde roars in unison, their glowing red eyes promising a swift and brutal end. But Shinya meets the charge head-on, effortlessly stopping the first attacker with a single hand. He brings his axe down with brutal precision, neutralizing the threat and clearing his path. Using the fallen creature as a shield, he prepares to face the next wave of the undead. Suddenly, an unseen hand shoves the zombie's back, creating a brief opening in the chaos. A mysterious blonde man appears out of nowhere, tossing a zombie aside with incredible strength. The newcomer easily handles the undead, proving to be a powerful and unexpected variable in the fight. Shinya watches as the stranger dispatches another zombie with a powerful kick, completely stealing his thunder. Wounded and annoyed, he grits his teeth, realizing he's no longer alone in this deadly domain. Refusing to be upstaged, Shinya cuts a path through the remaining undead with his axe. With one last zombie dispatched, he sees the mutated Gashan retreating up the stairs. The monster suddenly leaps from the top of the stairs, aiming to crush him from above. It lands with a devastating impact, shattering the ground below in a cloud of debris. The Gashan recovers, its glowing red eyes burning with renewed fury. From its new vantage point, the monster scans the area, searching for its target. Its face contorts in pure rage, its glowing eyes promising a brutal end. Meanwhile, Shinya locates the safe house, finding two vans parked in a quiet garage. He finds a first aid kit, but it contains only basic bandages and supplies. Patching himself up, he realizes these meager items are not enough to complete the mission. He knows this domain is the first step to his revenge, and there's no room for error. Deciding to avoid the mutated zombie for now, he grabs the supplies and heads for the safe house. But his hiding spot is discovered as the Gashin's presence shakes the entire vehicle. The monstrous creature prepares to unleash its overwhelming strength, determined to crush him. With a powerful shove, the Gashin begins to lift the entire van, trapping him inside. Peering through the window, Shinya realizes his temporary shelter is about to become his tomb. His eyes dart around, searching for any possible escape route from the deadly situation. The vehicle groans and shakes under the relentless assault from the mutated beast. With a final, powerful heave, the monster tears open the roof of the van. Cornered and bloodied, Shinya prepares to meet the Gashin's attack head-on. With his eyes burning gold, Shinya sees his opening and prepares to strike. He swings his axe with precision, aiming directly for the monster's wounded arm. Using his agility, he dodges and repositions, determined to weaken the beast even slightly. But he realizes with a grimace that his basic axe is on the verge of shattering. The Gashin roars in agony, its rage intensifying from the painful blow. He recalls that a wounded mutant enters a berserk state, doubling its aggression. With one arm disabled, Shinya faces the monster's remaining limb, ready to press his advantage. He goes for the final blow, hoping to take out the creature's other arm completely. But the monster's red eyes flare as it catches the axe blade with its bare hand. The Gashin's powerful grip stops his attack cold, leaving him completely defenseless. With his weapon caught, Shinya is defenseless against the monster's brutal kick. Crashing to the floor, he loses his grip on the axe, completely at the monster's mercy. He screams in pure frustration, realizing his last-ditch attack didn't even make the monster flinch. Pinned to the floor, he realizes with dawning horror that his body is too broken to move. As the monster's jaws descend, he faces the horrifying fate of becoming one of the undead, repeating his past life's failure. His eye burns with despair as he questions how, despite his knowledge, he ended up in the same hopeless situation. In his final moments, the mysterious voice from his rebirth returns, its message finally becoming coherent. The voice solidifies into a single powerful promise, reigniting his all-consuming desire for revenge. Pulled back from the brink of death, he looks down in confusion, suddenly aware of a change in his body. A mysterious red energy envelops his arm as he watches in disbelief, his wounds miraculously starting to heal. The mutated beast roars in agony, its red eyes flaring with uncontrolled rage. Shinya counters with a powerful kick, sending the monster reeling from the unexpected blow. Landing gracefully with his axe, he prepares for the next phase of the fight, his body fully restored. He looks down in disbelief, realizing that not only did he survive the zombie virus, but his wounds have completely vanished. His golden eye narrows as he connects this miracle to the mysterious voice, which now feels like it's coming from within. As the Gashin charges again, he recognizes the familiar voice, a chilling echo from his past. A shocking realization hits him, connecting the voice to a memory he thought was long buried. His mind flashes back to a terrifying figure from his previous life, finally understanding the source of the voice. With newfound clarity, he effortlessly dodges the monster's attack, moving with renewed purpose. He stands firm, identifying the voice as Teal, a legendary level 100 zombie from his past life. He recalls his final moments in the past, blinded by rage and a desperate need to reach the safe house. His memory is a blur, but he remembers facing the legendary zombie tile just as the domain collapsed around them. In that timeline, they both should have become zombies, unleashed upon the real world after their defeat. A horrifying possibility dawns on him. What if she somehow followed him back to the past? He dismisses the thought as impossible, yet the current situation defies all logic. With a grim certainty, he realizes the legendary zombie's essence is now inside him. He understands that her power is the reason for his immunity and his ability to see domains before the world's end. His miraculous healing abilities are also her gift, forcing him to question what he has become. With golden eyes burning, he grits his teeth, wondering if he can even be considered human anymore. He blocks the Gashin's massive fist, ready to test the limits of his new monstrous power. He faces the enraged Gashin, acknowledging the strange source of his survival. He scoffs at the irony of being saved by the power of his greatest undead enemy. Unseen by him, the mysterious blonde stranger watches the unfolding battle with keen interest. His golden eyes burn with resolve, accepting this dark gift as a means to an end. He decides that for the sake of his revenge, he'll embrace this monstrous power without hesitation. With a furious roar, he makes a pact with the entity inside him, offering his body in exchange for strength. Red energy surges through his axe as he prepares to unleash his newfound abilities. He unleashes a devastating slash, the blade glowing with a sinister red light as it connects with the beast. The mutated zombie grits its teeth in agony, stunned by the sheer force of the counterattack. Realizing he can now wield this zombie power, he swings his axe again, ready to end the fight. His eye burns with golden light, his mind consumed by the traitors he vows to make pay. He stands victorious over the fallen Gashin, the final threat in the domain now neutralized. Catching his breath, the toll of the battle is clear, but his resolve remains unbroken. Surrounded by the aftermath, he faces the glowing portal to the safe house, knowing his reward awaits. With the fight behind him, he steps into the crackling energy of the transfer gate. He glances back one last time before fully committing to entering the safe zone. Arriving inside, he recognizes the familiar layout of the Level 1 safe house from his past life. His gaze falls upon the reward box, the reality of this impossible head start finally sinking in. With a steady hand, he opens the container to claim his hard-earned prize. He pulls out a glowing blue crystal, identifying it as a magic stone, the first key to his future power. He confirms the special domain yielded 5 times the normal rewards, a massive haul of magic stones. Wounded but focused, he decides to test his knowledge by using the stones to upgrade his inventory. Accessing his holographic interface, he initiates the level-up sequence with a confident touch. A system message confirms his success, his inventory expanding to level 3 and granting him more storage. With his mission complete, a blue orb of energy signals his departure from the special domain. Back in the real world, he smirks, realizing this head start is the key to his entire plan. He understands the domain's rewards aren't just items. His own stats have also received a massive boost. Shinya examines a smaller crystal, knowing it holds the zombie virus, a key ingredient for powerful potions. He acknowledges the danger, as one wrong move could unleash the undead plague on an unsuspecting world. His strategic planning is suddenly cut short by an unexpected cry for help from nearby. His attention is caught by a man harassing a woman in a dark alley. He glances at the magic stone in his hand, his golden eyes reflecting the strange new power he wields. A cold, knowing smirk crosses his face as he decides to intervene in his own way. Appearing behind the aggressor, he observes the man's drunken advances on the terrified woman. Without a word, he delivers a sharp, disabling strike to the man's neck. The man yells in anger, but Shinya simply turns and walks away, his job done. Using the distraction, the woman escapes, leaving her harasser stunned and alone. Frustrated and dejected, the man wonders what to do now that his night is ruined. He stumbles down the alley, complaining that his drink suddenly tastes strange. The next day, official warnings indicate the alley has become a restricted area. A crowd gathers as rumors spread about a strange death in the cordoned-off alley. More police arrive on the scene, signaling the seriousness of the incident. 2 specialists in lab coats arrive, one asking for an update on the situation. An officer greets the lead specialist, Kurozono, and prepares to show him the scene. His partner, Natsumi, reacts with shock upon seeing the victim for the first time. The man's body is in an unnatural state, covered in strange growths and discolorations. Despite the body's condition, Natsume officially rules the death an accident from alcohol poisoning. But her troubled expression reveals deep suspicion, sensing there's more to the story. The deceased man's hand is shown clutching a glowing red crystal, an impossible find. Natsumi secretly holds the mysterious crystal, distracted from her work by the strange discovery. Natsumi silently examines the strange residue on her fingers, her mind racing with suspicion. She confronts her superior, Kurozono, arguing that the case is far too unusual to be closed so quickly. Kurozono coldly dismisses her, reminding her to follow orders if she wants a good evaluation. He pushes through the police tape, brushing aside the onlookers with clear annoyance. Natsume's frustration mounts as her superior deliberately ignores the strange evidence. Her investigation reveals a crucial lead. A witness saw the victim arguing with a student. Watching from the crowd, Shinya observes the entire scene with a confident, knowing smirk. He confirms his experiment was a success, having tested the limits of the zombie virus before the apocalypse. The results are clear. The virus is lethal now, but won't cause a full transformation until the world ends. As the specialists leave, Shinya sets a new goal, recruiting the sharp-witted Natsume to his side. The image introduces Natsume Etsuoka, a genius investigator whose determination is clear. He recalls her past life as a master pharmacist whose insatiable curiosity ultimately led to her downfall. Shinya knows that with her potion-making skills, his own power would increase exponentially. Back in the present, her frustration boils over as she argues with her dismissive superior. He solidifies his resolve, vowing to recruit her as an ally in this new timeline. Annoyed by her boss, she decides to investigate alone, only to be stopped by an unexpected voice. She turns to find Shinya, demanding to know his identity. With a confident smirk, he reveals he's the very high school student she's been looking for. He suggests they move their conversation to a more private location nearby. Meanwhile, Hatano waits anxiously, the stress of their new alliance clearly taking its toll. His subordinate questions why they're cleaning a strange location on Shinya's orders. Meanwhile, an elevator ascends, carrying Shinya and his new recruit to the 15th floor. They arrive at a hidden laboratory, and Shinya cryptically explains he just heard about it. Hatano's subordinate is immediately captivated by the beautiful and mysterious Natsume. Natsume surveys the impressive but dusty lab, noting that she'll have to test the equipment herself. Shinya internally recalls that this very lab belonged to Natsume in his past life. He tells Hatano to stay put, preparing to speak with the genius investigator alone. The former gang leader is left completely bewildered, trying to decipher Shinya's strange new move. As Natsume inspects the machinery, Shinya interrupts, insisting they discuss business first. Reaching into his pocket, he prepares to make his final, decisive offer. Shinya presents a glowing blue crystal, revealing it as the true cause of the man's death, leaving Natsume stunned. As she eagerly reaches for the artifact, he pulls it away, warning her that it's too soon to handle. Her scientific curiosity ignited, Natsume vows to analyze the mysterious crystal's structure. She grows suspicious, questioning his motives for bringing her to a secret lab and revealing this information. His golden eyes gleam with a calculated intensity, hinting at his deeper knowledge. He takes her hand, confirming her suspicions by admitting he needs her specific expertise to analyze the stone. She questions his choice, pointing out that her superior is far more qualified than she, a mere trainee. Shinya reveals he knows her entire history, a forensic medicine prodigy who studied abroad and won numerous awards. Realizing he's done his homework, she cuts to the chase, demanding to know what he wants from her. Shinya lays out his final offer. Join his cause and he'll provide the lab, unlimited crystals, and full funding for her research. He gives her an ultimatum. Accept his offer to see a new world, or their discussion is over. Without hesitation, Natsume takes a seat, her hand gripping the chair with resolve. She immediately begins her analysis, her scientific curiosity completely overriding any caution. Natsume agrees to any condition, so long as she can study the crystal, sealing their new partnership. Shinya smirks, his plan to recruit her unfolding exactly as he had anticipated. Completely engrossed, she peers into the microscope, already lost in the mysteries of the artifact. He explains the crystal contains a virus that reanimates the dead, creating a being that is no longer human. Shinya gives these creatures a name from the future, zombies, the living dead. He reveals the crystal has two components, one that zombifies and another that enhances physical abilities. Her first task is laid out, separate the components and create a pure human-enhancing potion. Natsume processes the horrifying idea of the living dead, and Shinya confirms her fears are valid. He tells her to focus on the crystal for now, promising future answers and providing her with a place to live. As he turns to leave, she stops him, and he finally reveals his name, Shinya Ichiju. Shinya then orders Mineta to stay and assist the new scientist, while he and Hatano depart. The two men descend in the elevator, leaving the secret lab and its new occupant behind. A bewildered Hatano asks their new leader about their next destination. Shinya checks on his new crew, correcting Hatano's familiar address and demanding to be called boss. With his plans falling into place, Shinya's focus shifts to the final piece of the puzzle, money. The scene introduces a powerful older man with a cigar who is also on the hunt for a massive payday. A flashback reveals a ruthless killer named Ren O'Gain, a man who was already a seasoned fighter by the age of 20. The narrative introduces Ren O'Gain, a man who clawed his way to the top of the entertainment business through ruthless means. His empire is built on the glittering facades of casinos and nightclubs, his primary sources of income. The casino floor is a chaotic scene of high stakes and false hope, drawing in crowds eager to change their lives. Patrons are fueled by the dream of a big win, but the house ensures very few ever walk away victorious. In the end, most gamblers are left with nothing but regret and the crushing weight of their losses. A man is struck with a golf ball, a brutal consequence for failing to pay his debts. The ball clatters to the floor, a stark symbol of the casual cruelty used to enforce the casino's rules. Those who can't pay are brought before Ogan, who traps them in an inescapable cycle of debt and intimidation. The desperate man pleads for more time, his face a mask of fear and pain. Ogan coldly reminds him of his massive debt, preparing to deliver another painful lesson with his golf club. Ogan casually considers his next move, using his golf club as a tool of intimidation. The desperate man protests the impossible interest, his original loan now 5 times its size. Ogane's enforcer escalates the situation by threatening the man's family, pushing him to the brink. Unmoved by the threats, Ogane winds up for another painful lesson in debt collection. The club connects with brutal force, a clear message that defiance will not be tolerated. A stoic bodyguard watches over the proceedings, unfazed by the brutal methods employed. Ogane gives a cold, calculated order to his subordinate, outlining the next step in their cruel extortion. These ruthless tactics are the foundation of Ogane's empire, securing him billions in illicit funds. An assistant announces the arrival of Hatano's crew, and Ogane coolly grants them an audience. Hatano leads his men, including Shinya, into the room, silencing a subordinate who tries to speak out of turn. Ogane dismisses Hatano's subordinate with a wave, telling him to stand down. Hatano remarks on the casino owner's harsh methods, but Ogane simply returns the sentiment. Taking a seat, Ogane reveals he knows about Hiraguri's domain and cuts straight to the point, asking their purpose. Hatano presents his cover story, claiming he wants to do something special for his boss's upcoming birthday. Ogane offers to help, but his price is steep. He demands Hiraguri's domain in exchange. Hatano internally seethes, refusing to hand over the domain he risked his life to secure. The casino owner calmly dismisses Hatano's defiance, calling him a foolish man. Ogane's eyes narrow with menace as he reveals he's been coveting that specific domain for a while. He mocks Hatano for arriving with only 3 men, suggesting they are foolishly underestimating his power. A flashback reveals Shinya's plan, calmly instructing a panicked subordinate to trust his lead despite the impossible odds. In the flashback, Shinya lays out his strategy: create a diversion and always act strong when money is involved. Hatano's subordinate nervously agrees, putting his faith in Shinya's seemingly impossible plan. Back in the present, Hatano grits his teeth, his frustration boiling over as he prepares to act. With a furious cry, he grabs a pencil and lunges at Ogane, initiating the planned chaos. Ogane's bodyguard reacts instantly, catching Hatano's wrist and stopping the attack cold. Hatano glares with pure determination, refusing to back down even as his initial assault is thwarted. While the bodyguard is distracted, Shinya slips past the struggle, his real objective in motion. The bodyguard effortlessly disarms Hatano, twisting his arm and neutralizing the immediate threat. Ogane's men roar in anger, moving to overwhelm the intruders for their insolence. But Shinya moves with blinding speed, taking down the first guard with a single decisive kick. He sends another guard flying across the room, leaving Ogane to watch from his chair. An enraged enforcer charges forward, furious at the unexpected assault on his comrades. But Hatano's subordinate intercepts him, eager to release his own pent-up frustration in a fight. The 2 brawlers trade blows, kicking off the chaotic diversion Shinya planned. Hatano watches the brawl unfold, trying to keep his composure amidst the escalating violence. His calm shatters as he spots a new, more dangerous threat moving towards Shinya. Ogane's head bodyguard swings a golf club with deadly intent, but Shinya narrowly evades the attack. Shinya, now masked, tells Hatano to stay back, preparing to handle this new opponent himself. Hatano recognizes the man as Ogane's top enforcer, the true source of the casino owner's power. The bodyguard leaps into the air, bringing the golf club down in a powerful, crushing strike. The bodyguard brings the club down in a vicious arc, aiming to finish Shinya off. But Shinya's golden eyes gleam with focus, completely unfazed by the incoming blow. He snatches another golf club and meets the attack head-on, the impact echoing through the room. The sheer force sends him skidding back, but he absorbs the blow with surprising ease. His mask is torn away in the clash, revealing his determined face to everyone in the room. The bodyguard stares in shock, unable to comprehend how Shinya emerged completely unharmed. Hatano rushes over in concern, but Shinya coolly reassures him that he's perfectly fine. Standing tall, Shinya internally scoffs, realizing this human opponent is far slower than any zombie. Ogane calmly instructs his enforcer to keep the commotion down, maintaining his composed facade. But his cold eyes betray his true intentions as he gives the chilling order to end them all. The 2 golf clubs collide with explosive force, the impact echoing through the room. Despite the bodyguard's immense size, Shinya effortlessly counters the powerful downward swing. His golden eye gleams with cold calculation, seeing through his opponent's every move. In a flash, he transitions from defense to offense, delivering a powerful kick to the enforcer's chest. The bodyguard manages to catch his leg mid-air, a grim look on his face as he holds Shinya in place. Enraged by the defiance, the enforcer prepares to deliver a crippling blow. but Shinya uses the captured leg as a pivot, swinging around to land a clean kick to the bodyguard's head. He gracefully disengages as his opponent stumbles, momentarily stunned by the swift counter. Seizing the opening, Shinya lunges forward, driving the sharp end of his broken club into the enforcer. Ogain watches in disbelief as his top bodyguard is sent flying across the room, utterly defeated. Hatano's subordinate stares in utter disbelief, unable to process how Shinya defeated their strongest opponent. A panicked Ogan gets on the phone, desperately demanding to know where his reinforcements are. A small group of enforcers finally arrives, but Hatano's crew seems confused by their limited numbers. The casino owner erupts in fury, questioning why so few of his men have shown up to the fight. His subordinate explains that all roads to the casino are mysteriously congested, preventing more backup from arriving. Ogain glares at Shinya, who coolly confirms he orchestrated the entire situation. Enraged, the casino owner offers a massive cash reward to his men to eliminate the intruders. Spurred on by the promise of money, the remaining enforcers charge forward to attack. Meanwhile, chaos erupts on the casino floor as every machine suddenly hits the jackpot. The commotion is interrupted as one of Ogain's men is sent flying through the wall, crashing onto the floor below. The defeated enforcer crashes onto the casino floor, leaving the patrons utterly confused by the sudden chaos. Shinya and his crew emerge from the VIP room, appearing as the clear victors of the confrontation. Hatano stares in disbelief, realizing Shinya single-handedly neutralized Ogaini's entire elite security force. Shinya casually dismisses the incident as minor trouble, asserting their dominance over the casino. Stepping forward, Hatano introduces himself as the new owner and announces a generous giveaway to win over the crowd. The patrons erupt in cheers, their loyalty quickly shifting to the new management and their promise of free money. Hatano seems taken aback by his own announcement, clearly following Shinya's script with some confusion. But just as they take control, a new powerful group arrives, led by the mysterious blonde man, Ijuin. Ijuin approaches Hatano, remarking on the messy situation and revealing his connection to the now-defeated Ogan. While Hatano attempts to form a new alliance, Shinya remains silent, observing the new player on the board. Hatano grabs Shinya's shoulder, questioning his disrespectful silence in front of the newcomer. Shinya's golden eye flashes with a dangerous light, a silent but potent warning. Hatano freezes, his face contorting in fear as he feels the sheer pressure from Shinya. He's completely intimidated, recognizing the terrifying killing intent radiating from his young boss. Ijuin calmly addresses Shinya, offering his assistance with a condescending smile. Shinya's mind flashes back, identifying Ijuin's allies as the very traitors from his past life. He recalls that Ijuin Kibu and his group were heirs to financial giants who dominated the apocalyptic world. The memory confirms they orchestrated a trap for him long ago, revealing their deep-seated collusion. Meanwhile, the defeated Ogain desperately calls out to Ijuin, begging for his intervention. The casino owner grovels at Ijuin's feet, promising him anything in exchange for his help. Ijuin calmly agrees to help, his condescending smile masking his true intentions. He mentions their long history, his expression turning cold and menacing as he prepares to act. The scene cuts to a stained golf club, a grim reminder of the brutal methods Ogain once employed. With a dismissive gesture, Ijuin signals that Ogane's fate is sealed, regardless of their past. The two rivals lock eyes across the room, a silent challenge passing between them. Ijuin grabs Shinya, whispering a chilling threat that only the crowd's presence is saving his life. The two factions stand off in the middle of the casino floor, the tension palpable among the onlookers. Deciding the confrontation is beneath him, Ijuin turns to leave with his crew. Shinya watches them depart, vowing that their paths will cross again under different circumstances. Ijuin's face hardens with resolve, already planning his next move against his new rival. As Ijuin departs, he coldly orders his subordinate to investigate the mysterious young man. Hatano addresses the cheering crowd, while Shinya internally admits he almost lost control and killed his enemies on the spot. He reaffirms his cold vow, deciding his traitors don't deserve a quick end but the depths of true despair. A worried Hatano approaches his boss, warning him of the danger of making an enemy of the powerful Ijuin. Shinya dismisses the concern, shifting focus to their next objective by asking about the casino's earnings. He issues a new, surprising order: use all the money to purchase gold through a spot transaction. A battered and confused Hatano questions the sudden need for such a massive and unusual investment. Shinya coldly tells him to follow orders and deliver the gold to the lab, leaving his subordinate completely baffled. The narrative reveals a key game mechanic. Magic stones can only be used to expand the inventory up to level 10. Beyond that, gold becomes the essential upgrade material, explaining why the precious metal was so depleted in the future he remembers. Shinya outlines his plan: delegate the gold acquisition and focus on hunting for more special domains. His senses suddenly flare, alerting him to a new, unexpected opportunity. He feels the telltale pull of a special domain, his body reacting to its presence. Looking up, he spots a sinister red energy swirling above a nearby building. He arrives at a school, realizing this is the source of the strange phenomenon. The schoolyard is filled with oblivious students, completely unaware of the impending chaos. Inside a classroom, the day proceeds as normal, a stark contrast to the danger outside. A green-haired student stands nervously by an empty desk, seemingly waiting for someone. He looks on with concern, wondering about the well-being of his classmate, Ichiju. His thoughts are cut short as a stack of books is slammed onto the desk, startling him. A blonde bully casually dismisses the concerned student, claiming Shinya's seat is free for the taking. He smirks, confidently assuming Shinya is hospitalized after his run-in with Mineta's gang. The bully complains about the inconvenience of losing his errand boy, justifying his takeover of the desk. Suddenly, a hand shoves the bully's book straight out the classroom window. Shinya appears in the doorway, his golden eyes cold as he warns the bully to leave immediately. The bully's friend quickly restrains him, whispering a frantic reminder of Shinya's victory over Mineta. The other students stare in disbelief, unable to comprehend how he returned completely unscathed. Shinya approaches his worried classmate, who stammers his relief and gratitude for him standing up to the bullies. His point made, Shinya leaves the classroom and walks through the now empty school grounds. He stands alone, realizing the domain's presence is new and deducing it will fully manifest the next day. His thoughts are interrupted by an unexpected voice, and he turns with a questioning gaze. He recognizes Amani Miki, the class idol, who feigns concern while recalling how he was once at her mercy. Her charming facade hides a manipulative nature, as she orders him to run her errands like he used to. Shinya simply closes his eyes, completely unimpressed by her entitled demands. She stares in disbelief as he coldly dismisses her, refusing to be her errand boy any longer. Her loyal admirers immediately jump to her defense, furious at Shinya's sudden defiance. While Miki plays the victim, her followers prepare to teach Shinya a lesson for his disrespect. Shinya remains perfectly calm, feeling a sense of pity for his past self who endured this treatment. The lead bully lunges forward, enraged that Shinya's victory over Mineta has made him so bold. Without a word, Shinya swiftly neutralizes the attack, bringing the confrontation to an abrupt end. Mineta arrives to find the classroom in chaos, surprised that Shinya is completely unharmed. Miki tries to ally with Mineta, suggesting they get revenge on Shinya together, but he coldly rejects her advance, pushing her away with a look of disdain. He shocks her by defending Shinya, angrily telling her to leave his big bro alone. The entire class is stunned by this new dynamic, wondering when the gang leader became Shinya's subordinate. With a final warning, Mineta forces a defeated Miki and her crony to retreat. He then turns his attention to Shinya's friend, ordering him to go buy breakfast. Approaching his new boss, Mineta explains that Natsumi sent him after being unable to make contact. Shinya grabs his face, immediately guessing her urgent message is about a major breakthrough in her research. With a simple command, he dismisses Mineta, his mind already on the next step. As the teacher begins the lesson, Shinya knows this peaceful school day is about to end. He stares out the window, his reflection grim as he watches the last moments of normalcy fade. Suddenly, his eyes widen in shock as the world around him violently shifts. The classroom instantly transforms into a blood-soaked, nightmarish version of itself. A system message confirms his entry into a level 5 special domain with a 20-minute time limit. He steadies himself, recalling the jarring sensation of being pulled into a domain from his past life. Composing himself, Shinya immediately begins searching the ruined classroom for any usable items. He finds only a ruler and a protractor, realizing this domain will be far tougher than the last. With no time to waste, he prepares to leave the classroom, knowing it's a race against the clock. Stepping into the distorted hallway, his first priority is to find the location of the safe house. He realizes he has one key advantage in this twisted version of his school. Knowing the layout perfectly, he can navigate the domain and save precious time. A strange noise from behind makes him pause, his senses on high alert. Peering outside, he spots his objective. The safe house portal is in the school's playground. But there's a problem. A massive horde of zombies is guarding the exit. He knows that trying to fight his way through the undead army would be a fatal mistake. With only 20 minutes, he concludes that defeating them all is impossible, and a new strategy is needed. His thoughts are interrupted as a hulking zombie lunges at him from the shadows. He dodges just in time, letting the creature's own momentum carry it forward. The zombie smashes through the window, plummeting to the ground below as Shinya watches from above. The schoolyard is now a nightmarish sea of the undead, all drawn to the chaos. The zombies roar with mindless hunger, their glowing red eyes fixed on their next target. He watches as the entire horde suddenly shifts, moving with a strange, unified purpose. He realizes the creatures are swarming the spot where the other zombie fell, drawn by the sound of the impact. A new strategy forms in his mind, realizing he can exploit their sensitivity to sound. He concludes that luring the horde away from the safe house is the only way to clear the domain in time. Shinya scans the blood-soaked hallway, searching for the perfect place to create a massive distraction. His eyes lock onto a dark staircase, knowing exactly where he needs to go to execute his plan. With renewed purpose, he heads down the long, ominous corridor toward his objective. He arrives at the school's broadcasting room, the perfect tool to draw every zombie away from the exit. He confirms his plan to use the broadcasting room to lure the entire horde away at once. Armed with only a ruler and a protractor, he makes his way through the blood-stained corridor. He pauses for a moment, recalling the school's layout from memory to plan his route. Getting his bearings, he confirms he's in the central wing, ready to move. A mental map forms, showing the path from the central wing, through a passage, to the broadcasting room. He visualizes the route, needing to cross to the opposite building and ascend to the top floor. His attention is caught by movement below as the horde of zombies begins to stir once more. To his surprise, the zombies return to the playground, gathering around the safe house portal. He realizes with dawning horror that the undead aren't just wandering, they're guarding the exit. A grim expression crosses his face as he understands this challenge is far more deliberate than he first thought. He decides to test his sound-luring theory on a lone zombie blocking the corridor. With a swift move, he sends the creature crashing through a window to the ground far below. The entire horde on the schoolyard below immediately turns, drawn by the sudden commotion. He watches from above as they swarm the impact site, confirming their weakness. His deduction is proven correct. The undead are instinctively drawn to any unusual noise. But he spots a new problem. Faster, more athletic zombies are leading the pack. He identifies them as elite zombies, former humans whose physical prowess has been retained. Shinya recalls the sports department was on the field, explaining the high concentration of these tougher foes. After investigating the sound, the elite zombies return to their positions, resuming their guard over the portal. Realizing the complexity of the situation, he grips his makeshift weapons and reevaluates his plan. He steels himself, knowing he has only one chance to execute his plan. With no room for error, he focuses on his objective at the end of the blood-soaked hall. But his path to the broadcasting room is blocked by a shadowy figure in a doorway. A hulking zombie, a former school custodian, emerges with glowing red eyes. The creature stands guard in the long corridor, armed with a heavy tool. Its blood-splattered clothes and menacing stare confirm it's a serious threat. But as he sizes up his opponent, another pair of glowing eyes appears in the darkness behind it. With no time to hesitate, Shinya lunges forward, aiming his protractor at the zombie's neck. The makeshift weapon finds its mark, immobilizing the creature in a single, precise strike. He glances at the timer, realizing with dread that he only has 1 minute left to complete an impossible task. He understands that speed and strategy are the only keys to victory in this race against time. Shinya quickly reaches the connecting passage between the school buildings. The blood-splattered doors ahead signal that he's entering a new, dangerous area. Peeking through the opening, he cautiously surveys the path forward. 3 zombies block the narrow corridor, leaving him no room to hide. With no time for a detour, he realizes a direct, head-on confrontation is his only option. He resolves to take them down silently, avoiding alerting the rest of the horde. With a burst of speed, he lunges forward to neutralize the first zombie instantly. His makeshift weapon connects with brutal precision, disabling the creature in a single motion. As the zombie falls, he braces himself, knowing the next building will be an even greater challenge. He now wields a shovel, a grim upgrade from his previous makeshift weapons. Recalling the school's layout, he knows the stairs to the broadcasting room are just ahead. He cautiously peeks into the next building, preparing for whatever lies beyond the doors. The new corridor is deceptively quiet with plenty of hiding spots for an ambush. With the clock ticking, he realizes there's no time to strategize and must improvise. A menacing shadow with a glowing eye appears from the darkness, confirming his suspicions. The silhouette on the wall reveals a hulking figure raising its arm for a devastating strike, but Shinya's eyes gleam with focus as he prepares to counter the surprise attack. He raises the shovel just in time, blocking the crushing blow from the powerful zombie. The impact sends him skidding backward, his expression showing pure shock at the creature's immense strength. He looks up to find an even larger elite zombie, a former boxer, emerging from the shadows behind his first attacker. The reflection in his shovel reveals more undead closing in from behind, confirming he's completely surrounded. The commotion has drawn every zombie in the vicinity, trapping him in the narrow, blood-soaked corridor. The horde surges forward, their glowing eyes and hungry expressions signaling an imminent, overwhelming attack. With no other option, Shinya decides to take a chance, swinging his shovel at the closest advancing creature. In the chaos, he feels a sharp pain, realizing he's been grazed during the frantic exchange. Another zombie latches onto his weapon with its teeth, attempting to disarm him in the tight space. Shinya swiftly dispatches one of the creatures with a powerful blow, clearing a path for a moment. But the hulking boxer zombie looms over him, preparing to deliver a devastating punch from above. He grits his teeth and braces for the crushing impact, his face a mask of grim determination. He's sent flying by a powerful kick, his eyes dark with resolve as he absorbs the impact. The boxer zombie glares down at one of its fallen comrades, having cleared a path to its true target. Its red eyes burn with rage, locking onto Shinya with single-minded aggression. But it pauses in confusion, finding the once crowded hallway suddenly empty. The creature follows a strange red trail, sniffing the air as it relentlessly tracks its prey. The trail leads it to a closed door, signaling that Shinya is cornered inside. As the door creaks open, a dark silhouette confirms the zombie has found his hiding spot. The hulking creature steps into the science lab, scanning the room for any sign of movement. A foot lands silently on the floor, stepping down from an unseen hiding place above. The boxer zombie looks up to find an even larger, more menacing creature waiting for him in the lab. The enraged boxer zombie unleashes its fury, smashing the lab floor in a blind rage. Meanwhile, in the real world, a gloved hand holds a newly developed serum. Natsume struggles with her research, finding the zombie virus in the ore far too potent to easily separate. Frustrated, she questions why Shinya vanished just when his knowledge is most needed. The scene shifts to a rack of test tubes containing a mysterious red liquid. A shattered vial on the floor reveals Shinya had a secret weapon all along, and he knew exactly how to use it. Back in the domain, the boxer zombie surveys the destruction, confused by the lingering scent of the strange potion. It spots Shinya, its monstrous mind struggling to comprehend the power held by a mere high school student. Shinya fearlessly charges the leaping behemoth, preparing to counter its powerful attack with his shovel. He swings the tool with surprising strength, ready to meet the monster's overwhelming force head-on. With a fierce expression, he swings the shovel, delivering a devastating blow to the creature's head. The sheer force of the impact sends the hulking zombie flying across the lab. He stands victorious over the fallen creature, his shovel a grim testament to the battle. It's revealed he used his own blood as bait, and the potion he took has already healed his wounds. Shinya carefully collects samples of the zombie's blood, a new tool to avoid future confrontations. With the clock ticking down, he knows he has to leave the defeated monster and press on. He exits the now silent science lab, leaving the aftermath of his calculated battle behind. The empty room holds a lingering sense of dread as he continues his mission. But a sudden, splitting headache forces him to his knees, his body racked with pain. His vision blurs and his consciousness begins to fade, the potion's side effects finally taking hold. He clutches his head, realizing the potion's side effects are triggering a dangerous internal reaction. A twisted, monstrous vision appears in his mind, a manifestation of his past weakness that he must now destroy. Steeling himself, he resolves not to be consumed by this inner demon. His focus returns to the present as he realizes the fight in the lab has drawn more zombies to his location. Down the hall, he spots other students fighting for their lives against the undead horde. Ignoring their desperate struggle, he runs past the chaos, his own mission taking absolute priority. He decides to avoid any unnecessary fights, knowing the broadcasting room is his only way out. Shinya finds the blood-stained staircase, his path to executing the final stage of his plan. Reaching the top floor, he cautiously peeks around the corner, assessing the new level. The hallway appears clear, and he moves forward, shovel ready for any surprises. Shinya finally reaches the broadcasting room, his hand hovering over the blood-stained doorknob. He quickly secures the door behind him, the sign confirming he's reached his destination. He surveys the empty studio, relieved to find no immediate threats inside. The success of his entire plan now depends on the broadcasting equipment still being operational. He sets his shovel aside, his focus shifting from combat to technical execution. Relief washes over him as the control panel lights up, confirming the system is still active. He recalls his past life, remembering how he once helped the broadcasting club and learned to use this very equipment. With cold focus, he prepares to execute the final, most critical step of his plan. But just as he begins, a grotesque hand pushes the door open, signaling his time is up. An undead intruder stumbles into the room, threatening to ruin his carefully laid plan at the final moment. Ignoring the intruder, Shinya keeps his focus locked on the broadcasting equipment. His eyes widen in alarm, realizing he is completely out of time to deal with this new threat. He grabs his shovel, knowing he must end this interruption with swift, decisive action. With a furious expression, he swings the weapon, ready to neutralize the final obstacle. The blood-stained shovel cuts through the air, a grim tool for a desperate situation. He glares at the creature, annoyed by its attempt to enforce rules even in undeath. The hulking zombie, a former school employee, mindlessly tries to guard the room from unauthorized entry.